We're getting closer to the November election. 21 News is your place for politics, and we're spending 5 minutes at 5 with the candidates right ahead of Decision 2025. In Trumbull County, incumbent candidate Todd Johnson is running against Joseph Vallimont for Warren Council's 1st Ward, and Councilman Johnson joins us here now. Thank you for taking the time. Yes, so tell us about your experience so far in council, why you've decided to run again, what's most important to you.
You know, I've served 2 terms on Warren City Council, and the most dynamic experience is being able to serve the public directly through legislation, through budgetary concerns, and through answering the community's needs and concerns. And so having that face-to-face interaction on a regular basis with the residents and then carrying those concerns to the administration and my colleagues has just been eye-opening on the government process, as well as empowering, showing how the residents really do have the power to help shape the future of our ward and our city.
Okay, so if you're to win re-election, what would be your top goals if you took office again?
You know, we have had so much momentum built up, especially since the pandemic, and some wonderful things happening in Warren. Our Peninsula project downtown in Warren, which expands into the 1st Ward, it is primarily a 1st Ward property, is one of our top priorities. The mayor and our administration has done a phenomenal job of working with developers and attracting the investors. We're already clearing land along the Mahoning River bank there between Perkins Park. And we want to see that come to fruition, and we're confident that it will. We're also excited about the coming job development through the Kimberly Clark and Warren Township development, which has just announced another distribution warehouse center next door that is going to bring even more jobs to the area, and preparing our residents and residential areas for that influx of jobs, and prayerfully influx of residents once again. And to that 3rd point, we have built the first new housing development in the 1st Ward on the west side of Warren in decades, in a partnership with Trumbull Neighborhood Partnership, the Ohio Department of Development, Trumbull County Land Bank, 4 brand new market rate houses on one of our former school properties, the Emerson School property, that is going to provide those incoming families or current families a place to buy a home and see the American dream right in the city of Warren.
And are there maybe updates on more housing options coming to Warren, or is that still something that council you're hoping that you can get some investors?
Well, this is something that we're looking to duplicate around the city. We actually have more property in that particular space to even place more houses as we see the success of this program, but we want to duplicate that property. We tore down nearly 24 schools, think about 17, 18 school properties that are just big, giant, empty lots now. And while every place might not be a suitable spot for that type of development, on the northwest side of Warren, which has a very strong housing stock and a lot of proud residents and owners, that's a perfect place to help boost the current housing stock, maintain and stabilize the housing values, and also attract and build on our housing options for our residents.
Okay, have you heard from folks about the property tax issue? And you know, what would you do if you were a council member? Would you be in favor of having the abolishment of property taxes if that ever really happens in Ohio?
You know, I think the idea of abolishing property taxes is a dangerous one, cut and dry. I do think you need some property tax reform, and how these calculations are done and what limits or caps can be put on residents who have owned their homes, some outright, they've paid off their mortgages, and now they're being slammed with 20%, 30% increases. And that's just almost like a punishment for having invested in your home, and I don't believe in that. But I do believe that as government officials, public officials, we should be prepared and ready to explore more innovative ways of funding our government and seeing about how we meet the needs of our residents. Times are changing. We cannot count on the traditional funding mechanisms that we have depended on from the federal and state government in the past. And so we have to face some very harsh realities of this new world we live in. And just because an administration changes doesn't mean everything will be put back in place. So I think this is a good time to start dreaming and imagining and meeting with partners to talk about what does the future look like. Something's going to change with property taxes. We don't know exactly what, but our city administration, our city services, our schools are all going to be affected. So we might as well start having those conversations now.
The open dialogue. Real quick, what makes you stand out against your opponent?
You know, I'm a lifelong Warren resident, being heavily involved in the city of Warren through both ministry, community service, nonprofit work. I spent 8 years on the Civil Service Commission serving with our police and fire departments and ensuring that we had strong candidates and workers working in those departments. I've served for 2 terms, and I'm that kind of hometown boy that loves his city grew up in this city, bought a home in this city. I'm raising my family in this city. My kids are graduating from Warren schools. I have a vested interest. And I think what sets me apart is I bring imagination, intellect, and innovation to the role. And I've already seen the fruit of that, working alongside our mayor, working alongside our city department heads and our entities throughout the city to bring positive change. And so prayerfully, if I'm reelected, I'll be able to continue the good work and progress that we've made so far.
All right, thank you for joining us for 5 minutes at 5.
Thank you so much.